Cashing in on the lifestyle that you want while risking everything. Next on Issues and Insights.
This is what is making news right now. As attacks continue.
The question on all our minds, will giant bugs take over the city?
This is as close as we dare go to this huge flu.
A massive kill of wildlife in the state of Arkansas.
This is not a nice little bonfire like we had earlier.
Who are trying to calculate the exact amount of oil coming out of there.
Welcome to this episode of Issues and Insights. I'm Jamee Shea. I'm joined here by my guest, Geralyn Gray, who owns a business in Asbury Park, New Jersey, and Reilly, who owns, whose father owns a practice up in Middlesex, New Jersey. Thank you for coming and joining us today.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll start with Geralyn. So what was life like before owning a business, especially in a place like in Asbury Park, where it's right by the beach, kind of seasonal area?
Well, I've worked in retail for over 25 years, and my experience varies from being on a main street to being in a mall. And having a business of my own is a beautiful thing because I get to choose where I am. And where we've chosen where we are is in Convention Hall in Asbury Park, and it's a historical building. So I feel all of the history of the city that I'm in, and then I get to enjoy the beauty of the beach every day, which is awesome.
Awesome. So Casey, when your father, before he started owning a practice as a dentist, what was he doing before that?
Well, right after he graduated college, he actually worked for a few dentists on his own. And graduating, he knew that he wanted to be a dentist early on. And working for people, other dentists, he knew that he wanted to make his own business because his father was a salesman, and he knew that, watching his father working for the man, that he wanted to own his own business to make his own living.
Geralyn, what made you want to own a business, pretty much?
Well, I've always wanted to have a store. It was my lifelong dream. If you could take, how people think of what they did as a child and then what they end up doing. I was the child outside with a lemonade stand, and I sold my comic books. Once I read them, I sold them. That's how I grew up. So I thought I would always do that, but then how things happened once I was married, it became about helping pay the bills, and so I never really had the money to do a startup or take the risk. So then once I had children, I thought, well, by the time they were 5 and in school, I'd have something on Main Street near the school that they could walk to. But then that dream didn't live out either because it was still that risk thing. So you really didn't have enough of a startup to be able to take that risk and know that it was going to be okay. So now that they're in college, it got to a point, it took me to have a dream job, a job that I really loved, to say, I could do this, and I could do this on my own, and I am going to take the risk now, because if I don't now, I don't know when I ever would. So
yeah, and what is it that you were most interested in the business aspect, since you were in retail before?
The business aspect of it and everything, it was the risk. So being in that dream job, seeing that there was a successful store on a main street. It was in Princeton, so the location was different, but it just did give me the confidence to say that if I did have a little shop of my own like this, that I should be able to make an income from it eventually.
Okay. Casey, when your father decided that he wanted to own his own practice, put a lot of money into all of this, after trying not to work for the man anymore, what kind of support system did you think that he had? Since he was young, right?
Yes.
Okay. How young was he actually?
I want to say late 20s.
Okay.
And starting out on his own, he likes to tell a story that he did the stereotypical American building your business from the ground up story. He started out with almost nothing. Coming out of college, like a lot of people with debt and working for dentists coming out, he eventually got out of that and wanted to build his own business from the ground up. He bought his own home in which he lived at the top floor and had his practice on the ground floor.
And what is
working out of home.
And what did his family think about that when when this was
His family,
actually succeeding?
very supportive. They, my grandparents were his parents. They didn't have, they were working class citizens as well, so they didn't have, the finances to help him out, build his own business. So my dad, he was for the most part on his own, building up his own business.
How was he able to save all that money? Like, was it just like jobs or just basically like working for all these dentists?
When he was in college, he worked throughout college, and when he was out of college, he worked in things that he didn't exactly want to do. He worked as a contractor, he's roofing houses, things like that, to make what he could to start his own business.
Geralyn, what kind of support system did you have when you started having the business?
Well, I have my family. I have 2 children, my husband. My 2 children are actually my biggest inspiration because I watch them take leaps and bounds into all kinds of things that make me so proud. And watching them do that, it just really gave me the confidence to say, okay, here's your one jump you want to make, just do it. And my husband's supportive, but again, it's that risk thing. And you're both the ones responsibility for your mortgage and everything else. So I understood that I was being quite risky. And it was actually a conversation with my mom that made everything happen. And she told me if I wanted to do this, she would give me $5,000 to start with. So once I heard that, then I was just like, okay. I mean, literally, I quit my job, and the next day I signed a lease, which was pretty risky because my husband kept on saying, "Where's the business plan? Where's the business plan?" I went in totally with my emotions, and I don't know whether that's a good thing to suggest, but at the same time, you just have to do it. You can't think of all the things that could happen wrong before it happens. You really just have to do it.
It's wonderful. Okay, we're going to take a short break right now. We'll be right back after this short break on Issues and Insights.
Hey.
Ready to go?
Yeah, but the fire's not out.
Close enough.
Close enough? If it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave. I mean, the next thing you know, you've torched our whole neighborhood.
Which is why we're not going anywhere?
Exactly. 9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Welcome back to Issues and Insights. Now, where we left off, we were talking to Geralyn and Casey. Geralyn owns a business in Asbury Park, and Casey's father owns a dentist practice up in Middlesex, New Jersey. And we were just talking about basically how both of these people got on their feet building a business. And I was just wondering, Geralyn, what have been some of the goals that you had for your store, and do you think that you achieved them?
Definitely. I think when you start a business and you're self-supportive and you're doing something where you're relying on yourself, the first thing that you have to do is set your goals. And then whether they're daily, whether they're weekly, monthly, yearly, that's my goal all the time. I definitely am setting the goals, and I am definitely fulfilling them, and that's what keeps me rolling. If I set unrealistic goals and did not follow through on what I was going to do, it would not be a good thing. My goal this year is, of course, to do better than I did last year. But as far as marketing, more getting out there, more. Luckily, we're on the boardwalk, so Madison Marquette, who owns the boardwalk and leases us the space, they're very good in marketing. So they have a Facebook page that reaches about 26,000 people, whereas my Facebook page reaches about 300 people. So I'm on the right track as far as that goes. But if it was up to myself, I would really have to do a lot more for marketing. So I'm sort of relaxed going into the into the new year. But that's definitely because of where I am.
Okay, we can go into social media in a little bit. What are some of the goals that your father had, like from right when he started the practice, that he probably has told you?
Well, going into dentistry, it's a very specific field, and especially when you're young, not many people want to go into dentistry. So my father's always telling me that his main goal, because he does cosmetic dentistry, that he wants to make people's life and quality of living better by having a better smile, and he believes very strongly in that. And he does that his main goal is that, and like you said, he sets goals for weekly, monthly, such as recently he set up his own social media marketing, which is a goal of his that he set to increase his business and marketing for himself, and having the customers that he already has, making him feel like they're more like a homey kind of customer, because he posts about them saying, "Thank you, John, for coming in today. You were a great customer," things like that.
That's cool. Geralyn, do you have outside help with you, or does your family help you with your business, like when it comes to employees?
Right now, it's just family. I'd like to be set up. That would be a goal, not this year, but probably next year, to be able to hire, because there's a lot of people in the community, even people that I've met. Actually, the first thing they say to me is, "I'm so glad you're doing this because I really need a job." So that would be awesome. That would be a dream come true, to be able to give jobs to people also. But for right now, it's just a family business, which is awesome too.
That's awesome. And you, Casey?
Yeah, actually, my mother actually works at the office as well. My father actually met my mother at dental school, and they've been supporting each other ever since, working ever since they started the business together. And my father has employees of his that they've been there for ever since I can remember, ever since I was a small child. And of course, he's brought on some new people. People have left. It's the nature of the business. People come and go, but he has a good crew of loyal employees at his business.
That's awesome. Like, Geralyn, how long have you had your business?
Actually, it's been a very short time. I was a year in the shops at the arcade on Cookman Avenue in Asbury Park. And then right after that lease finished, then I started in May of last year. So it hasn't even been 2 years yet. It'll be 2 years in May.
And what would you usually do if you did not achieve, the financial goal of the year? And
well, that's one of the hard things that I was having that first year of whether I go on. I looked at it in the very beginning, since it was Greetings from Geralyn, it was mostly my idea to do everything. I sort of wondered, like, oh my gosh, like, what did I do? And then Madison Marquette actually came to us and said, "Did you ever think of having your store on the boardwalk?" And I said no, and I didn't think it was achievable. And so after my husband and I looked into it, it became my husband's main thing of, wow, like, this is a great opportunity, and I think that we could really do well here. So then after being there for a week and how much my husband is involved in the business, I was just like, wow, look what we did.
That's wonderful. I wish success on both businesses going on right now. Thank you so much for coming to this show, guys. It was very wonderful speaking with you. And thank you for watching this episode of Issues and Insights. I'm Jamee Shea, and this is Geralyn and Casey. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As attacks continue.
The question on all our minds, will giant bugs take over the city?
This is as close as we dare go to this huge blue.
A massive kill of wildlife in the state of Arkansas.
This is just a nice little bonfire like we had earlier.
Who are trying to calculate the exact amount of oil coming out of there.